I guess we need an intro. Let's go.
Hello, Simone. Welcome back to the Extrapreneur 360 podcast, Simone.
Good to be here, Steve.
Yeah,
it's been
man.
a while.
This is a big one for me because, and as I said to you, I'm really stoked to have you in particular here because this is the new setup, man. I spent the end of last year getting my ducks in a row, hearing a lot of feedback from people saying, dude, we're loving what you're saying and all that, but you've got to get your sound sorted out, you've got to get your video sorted out, all that stuff. So that's what I've done over the last few months. And this is the this is the second episode. I did a solo one because I just had to get something out for the new year, but you were the first person I needed to have on the podcast as a guest because, or not a guest, you're not a guest, you're a co-host, I suppose, because I needed you here for this new sound quality, new video setup.
And I'm so super impressed.
Yeah, I'm
It was worth waiting for.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
It was
Well, listen,
definitely worth
it's been a long time coming, and I'm stoked to, I'm very like humbled by the fact that a lot of people have said to me, dude, we're listening to what you're saying. And when I started
But we can't hear you.
Well, they can. I managed to get the sound sorted towards the end, but I realized I've done a lot of very valuable episodes that the sound wasn't great on. So if you're listening to this now, those days are gone. You don't have to worry. You'll be able to hear us all very clearly and very lively now. And also I've got some really exciting like plans for the new year in terms of guests and topics and themes. I learned a lot about what the audience is responding to on the podcast last year. Completely different to what I kind of had in my mind, but that's fine. I think I enjoyed talking about everything, so it'll be interesting to see what
I was going to say you just enjoy talking.
I talking shit. Yeah, I like talking. That I've heard a lot of that. It's like, bro, you like talking? I'm like, yeah, I do like talking. So Sim, welcome back, guys. If you are catching this, please do us a favor. As always, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and give us a share. Please share this episode with anybody you think will find it valuable. It's 2025. Sim, how are you feeling? Welcome back. How are the holidays?
Restful.
Good.
Very restful, and I'm ready.
Ready.
I'm ready to take on the new year.
Good, I'm glad. Well, that's kind of one of the themes that we're talking about today, I think, is it's so interesting how sensitive become to sound like a plane's going over. I'm like, oh, fuck, this plane's going to ruin, but I don't know if it will. But anyway, last episode, I put out an episode about a week ago on setting goals for 2025, and it was all about how I set my goals for 2024 and how I achieved every single one of them that I set down, and how it was easy for me to do. It wasn't difficult for me to do that. And that's why I shared it. I was like, guys, please try these techniques this advice. And it took me naturally into this next topic that I wanted to share, which is about, as you can see from the title, about ice baths and cold plunging. And Simone's just taking a very deep breath in.
I'm getting cold at the thought.
Like we're going to do one right now. The reason I wanted to do an episode on this is because I always make this joke, and people are sick of hearing the joke, but it's true. It's like the old joke of, how do you know someone does CrossFit? Or how do you know someone's a vegan? Or how do you know someone does cold plunging? How do you know someone does 75 hard? How do you know someone is a
vegetarian?
How do you know? They'll tell you. And I'm fully one of those people now, and I'm fine with it. I don't even care. But I've become a pain in the ass. I'm like, you've got to try cold plunge, you've got to try cold plunge. So I thought it would be a good episode with the concept of 2025 goals, just off the back of the concept of that, to reshare. What I've done, by the way, and you know this, is we did an episode in middle of last year, August last year, with Ronen airs, and I'll tag the episode down in the description below. That's one of the episodes where the audio wasn't great, but the content is unbelievable. So
he's amazing.
He's phenomenal. And I had to re-listen to it because now I've been cold plunging. I've now, since the other reason this is timeless, is I've now bought myself a deep freeze, and it's like, I don't know if you knew that. Your face is showing.
I didn't know that. That's
there's
very
a deep freeze
impressive.
outside, and I've now, like, our drum and bass running club comes back for an ice bath after our runs, and like I've got people getting into cold water that have never done it before and successfully doing it. It's so lacquer, like they are really taking to it. So but I thought it would be worthwhile resharing some of what we went through with Ronen, some of the lessons, and put it out into I would still say there's no substitute to go listen to what he has to say because he's really knowledgeable. But what I've done here is I've just made a few notes about what we discuss in that episode and like what you need to know about cold plunging. Have you ever done it?
Well, no.
Would you ever do it?
I'm a firm believer in never say never.
Right. Because you said you'd never do a podcast. You never talk in public.
I did.
And here you are again.
I'm not really sure if this classifies as public.
Wow.
But yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I take that. I own it. But chances are not.
Okay, fair enough. We will have
very high chance that I won't.
I've heard you say
ever.
no before to things and then changed your mind. So, so that's cool. I mean, I thought it would be worthwhile just discussing, like, firstly, what is a cold plunge?
What I'm interested in is why you're choosing this topic as the first one for the year.
Probably because I've become a bit obsessed with it. And it's because it's so flippin' good for you. It's so good for you physiologically, which I'll explain in a little bit. Like, as I say, Ronen does a much better job. But it's also flipping good for your mind, man. Your mindset and your ability to take on the days.
So something to start the new, kick off the new year.
Yes, exactly. And it's very, very accessible. People tend to think like, oh, it's ice baths. It's not. It's cold showers, man. And you'd be surprised how many people I've spoken to, because I do speak to a lot of people, because the first thing I say to them is, hey, do ice baths. I tell them, I just don't talk about it. But so many people turn around and say, oh, bro, I do cold showers. And I'm like, bro, that's ice. Like, it's not ice bathing, but it's cold
entry level ice bath.
It is and it isn't, actually. And I'll talk a little bit about that, because it's actually, in my opinion, it's way harder than an ice bath. And I'll tell you why I feel it is. Because I did it for, and I thought it would be good for me to just share, like, what was my journey into ice bathing, so that people can appreciate, like, how does it all work, and like, where does it all, like, how do you become obsessed, or how do you join the cult, as it were? Like, people don't just become vegan. They generally stop eating beef, and then they stop eating chicken, and then they become insufferable, and then they become vegan. Same thing with ice baths or cold plunges. So my journey was pretty straightforward. It was 75 hard is the first 75 days. Then there's a phase, there's a whole thing called the live hard year, and the second part of the live hard year is phase one. Phase one, you have to do the 75 hard challenges, all 5 challenges every day, or all 5 tasks every day. Then you've got to add on 3 extra tasks. One of them is meditation, 10 minutes meditation. One of them is 3 critical tasks. And the third one is a 5-minute cold shower. So when I did the live hard year in 2023, I was still living in Los Angeles. I had to do a 5-minute cold shower every day. And I was one of those people, and I'm not making this up, you can ask any of my family, they'll vouch. I was one of those people that would stand on the edge of the swimming pool in the middle of summer and, like, be scared to jump in the water, and, like, sometimes not even get into the water. I was so scared, not scared of the cold water, I was just like, I just hated cold water so much. So when it came to doing the cold showers, it was a really big leap for me, but I mean, for a lot of people, it is very, very tough. So I did the first cold shower. You have to do it for 30 days straight. And as with everything in 75 hard, if you stuff anything up or you don't do anything, or if you do 4 minutes and not 5 minutes, you start at the beginning again. So I said, cool, let me do the first 5-minute cold shower. And I did the first one. And it was without doubt one of the toughest things I've ever done. It was so physically exhausting. When I got out, I actually, like, stumbled over to the bed and passed out for an hour. Like, I worked myself up into such a state that I passed out. I was so tired. When I woke up, I was like, cool. It was really tough, but I feel fantastic. Like, it really does leave you with a good feeling. I did the next 5-10 days, and slowly over the next 10, you do 10-15 of these things. Eventually it's like, you know what to expect. And one of the most important parts for me was it allowed me to do something so tough first thing in the morning. Anything else that I had to do during that day, like if it was a tough meeting, or I had to have a tough conversation with a partner, or I had to fire someone, anything else that came along that day was much easier, because I'd already done the toughest thing I was going to do that day. Like, that's where the psychological side of it was for me.
Is it never not tough, though? Does it ever get to the stage where it's never not tough?
It's always shit. It's a flipping great question. It's always shit.
Like, you never get used to it.
So, like, I'll give you an example. When I was doing it in the swimming pool in June, July, I'd go for a run in the morning, like 5 a.m. Then I'd come back from a run like 6. And even as I was ending the run, I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna have a cold swim today, and I'd be like, fuck, I hate it. it's so shit, and I'm so scared of the water, and it's the worst, that shock as you get in. But then once you're in, you remember why you've done it. So it's a real obstacle and hurdle you have to get over. You know there's this big thing in front of you that sucks, but you know that on the other side of that thing is something really, really cool. And it is.
But I heard that your body actually starts craving it as well.
I don't know about that. That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
And then if you're feeling, because it fights inflammation as well, one of the benefits, right? So if you're feeling a little bit achy or...
So in that regard...
Or both.
Yeah.
Both.
So you start looking forward to it, but it never gets easier, if you know what I mean. So now I've got the deep freezer. So through December, I've been able to ice bath again. And the ice bath is way shitter. Well, let me finish telling you about the cold showers. So I finished the cold showers, 30 days. It got easier and easier, and it didn't get easier and easier, but I managed to get through 30 days. And once I was through 30 days and I was in LA, then I started like looking forward to going for a swim at Santa Monica, and the water in the Pacific's not warm. It's like not Cape Town cold, but it's not Indian Ocean cold, warm. So eventually I'd be like, cool, let me go swim in the ocean. And I'd go cold plunge in the ocean, and it was definitely a cold plunge. And it would really suck, but I would like thrive. And I found myself, like while I was surfing out in the ocean, I was the only one without a wetsuit. And I could realize that people just become comfortable. They make themselves comfortable. But if you decide not to, it's actually not that hard once you become used to it. Your body like really is tougher than you think. So then when I got back to South Africa, I got back to South Africa in like January 2024. January, February, I started swimming every day, and that was fun because it was summer. But as it started getting colder and colder, I started thinking, hey, I'm looking forward to like the water getting colder. And through June, July, I was just swimming every day, and the temperature went from like 18 degrees to 15 degrees to 12 degrees to 10 degrees. And by the middle of June, July, when I was speaking to Ronen in August, the water was at 2 degrees. And I was flipping stoked with myself that I was actually like
conquering it.
Yeah, and I was still like, I was proud of myself. And like that pride, you know, we as adults we tend to forget what pride feels like, because when you're a kid and you do something well, your parents say, hey, well done, or your friends are like, hey, bro, you did really good. We don't experience that a lot as adults. We're the ones who have to like tell ourselves that we did well, or no one's looking out for us anymore. We have to do it ourselves. So when you start,
we're the adults now.
Yeah, and even your wife or your husband or your girlfriend, because you become so close to someone, they don't often turn around and go, geez, Brewery, well done, you did really, like, it becomes like a matter of course. Of course you're going to do it. I'm proud of you. It's what you're supposed to. You're an adult.
Like adulting sometimes
so, like,
is hard, and you need to just do it.
And that's why I think we do like things like marathons or hour-long yoga sessions or whatever it is, or like cold plunges, because you walk out and you go, flip, I'm proud of myself, man. I did really well there. And like nobody else cares and no one else knows, but I'm proud of me. And that's a cool feeling, man. That's something that we should all. Here's your homework, actually, early homework, is tell someone this week, go find someone who does something well, tell them that you're proud of them, see what reaction you get. Because I'm telling you.
Another adult.
Yeah, it has to be an adult. Don't tell a kid. Children get told enough how proud you are of them. Just tell another adult. Let's see them. They have to do something significant that makes you proud. But find a reason. Don't look for a reason. But if there's a reason to tell someone you're proud of them, go tell someone you're proud of them this week. And go see what reaction you get from them, because I promise you'll be floored. So, yeah, I got through winter, cold plunging, cold plunging, I guess. Ice baths, I guess, is an ice bath, a bath with ice in it. A cold plunge is I'll go through the technicalities that Ronen discusses in the podcast with me. But, and then I got into August, September, the water started getting warmer, and then I didn't cold plunge for September, October, November, until eventually my mate John Cohen said to me, bro, let's get a deep freeze. And he was looking for one, and I was looking for one, and I said, cool, I'm going to buy one Black Friday and go on. And now every single day this year, I mean, it's only the 10th, 11th of the month.
13 days, well done.
But every single day in December, I cold plunged. And like some days there was ice floating.
But I think winter is the challenge.
Well,
winter's going to be the challenge.
So here's the thing is, winter's not going to be the challenge. I'll tell you why, because I'm looking forward to swimming in that water again. The real challenge here is like real ice floating, like minus zero. or 0 degrees, pretty much
The shards of ice on the top as you...
that shit. And I discovered that's a different story altogether. And that's what's quite interesting about what Ronen said, and I think that's why I wanted to share this. I wanted to have it something that, like my cancer episode, or like my brother's episode, or my dad's episode. People say to me, "Hey, like, what happened with you guys?" And now I've got something I can point them towards and say, "Go listen to this; it'll explain it." I want the same thing for cold plunging. I want to be able to say, "Hey, bro, I'll send you a link of this episode. Go listen to it; it'll explain to you." So, this is what is the thing about cold plunging is, and this is the process, so that everybody can like see how accessible it is. The first thing that Ronen said, which was really great, was start small, grow tall. So start slow. He said, for example, and this is what, as I said, I'm finding out a lot of people are saying to me, "Hey, bro, I do cold showers," and I'm like, "Dude, that's a cold plunge. That's a very significant step. Well done." So start small, grow tall. Okay, do a 10-second shower. Okay, he says. What's very interesting as well is it's also good to shiver for a minute after your shower. If you do shiver, let yourself shiver. If you're going to do it into a swimming pool or into an ice bath, go slow. Stand on the step for 10 seconds today. Stand on the step for 20 seconds tomorrow. Stand on the step, then go into your waist. Like, go slowly. You don't have to go full in. The other thing he says is, so the whole experience is, and he kind of says, when you do, and this is what I found was quite interesting. A cold shower, just cold normal water, even in the middle of summer, is still really considered a cold plunge. A cold plunge is according to Ronen, and Ronen bases everything he says on empirical evidence. It's all scientific. He doesn't talk shit. He just talks. That's what makes him so special. Is he knows what he's talking about, and it's based on science. Number one is anything from 10 degrees to 15 degrees is considered a cold plunge.
Oh, that
so
surprises me.
An ice bath with ice in it is 0 degrees because it's freezing. That's way colder than you need to be, right? So your cold shower is an ice bath. Is a cold plunge.
How cold does the shower get? I mean, on average.
If it's 12 degrees, that's considered giving you the same physiological reaction that you should get. So shower away. I find, in my experience, showers are worse than cold baths, and I'll tell you why. When you shower, and this is what I learned during the phase 1, you shower, the water comes down on you and it hits you all over your body, like it's whacking your ribs, it's whacking your arm. It's such a shitty feeling, and it's constantly hitting you. Whereas when you're immersed in water, it's like being in the ocean, the water's constantly moving around you. So it makes you cold, you can never settle in. Whereas when you're in a bath with water that's not moving, it's way colder, yes, but it's way more, you can calm down and you can just settle yourself.
But I've also heard that or seen people in the cold bath submerged in that icy water. They get used to that, and then as soon as they move and it breaks the water, it hits you again.
Yes, and that's what the shower's doing constantly. It's whacking you all over and making you. So that's why I hated the cold shower. However, if all you've got access to is a cold shower, then just do a cold shower. What happens, this is quite interesting, he says, is like in the first 30 to 45 seconds, you get a shock response. Your body goes into, like, as he puts it, like someone set a panic alarm. You go into a shock response, and your body starts to self-correct. So your body goes, oh my God, we're in trouble. So what do? Do whatever comes naturally. So if you want to scream, if you want to go, do that. For 30 to 45 seconds, do that. Like, let that happen. Once that starts, those 30 to 45 seconds pass, your body realizes, hey, we're not going to die here. We're actually okay. We're not going to die. That's when the breathing comes in. Then you start to go, hey, I need to breathe because otherwise I will die. All of a sudden your breathing comes in. That's where like things like Wim Hof breathing methods and all that, which I'm starting to learn a little bit about now as well. Wait till you meet me. I'm going to tell you about Wim Hof. How do you know someone does Wim Hof? They'll tell you about it. But when you start breathing, you start to take long ins, long outs, and you can actually control what you're going through, which is so unbelievable. That you can control the shitty experience that you're going through when you're actually doing it. So it's quite an unbelievable experience. And what was quite interesting also was something else that Ronen pointed out to me was he was saying to me, like, when I was doing, and this is fair notice, and you should know this because I didn't know this, is probably why it's good that I spoke to him, was when I was jumping into the pool 2-degree water, he was like, okay, that's good that you're acclimatized to it, but it's not smart and it's not advised. And I was like, wow, what's going on? He goes, basically, you should go in slowly, and you should go in a controlled way. If you don't, especially if you cover your head, it can actually create the opposing effect of what the cold plunge is doing to your body, and can cause an arrhythmia in you. And I was like, wow, I didn't know that. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, so
that's why you do really need to know what you're doing.
Exactly, and that's why, like, there's a safety element to this which I didn't know, and like I've just been going, jump into the pool. This is why another reason I wanted to do this episode was like to just correct and say, hey, do this correctly, do it the way that people are, and this is why I've learned how to do it now, and like I've learned the correct methods and ways to do it. The other really interesting thing that I learned as well was, the question was, and I've been doing it sort of every day, apparently you only need to do, and this is a weird statistic or a weird number for me a little bit, but you only need to do 11 minutes a week of cold plunging. So it's not like 30 seconds a day, you need 11 minutes a week. To get the full benefits of it, 11 minutes a week. So,
and is it cumulative? Like, can you can do one on one day and 10 on the other?
Here's the interesting thing. You only, once you're in for a minute or two, minute and a half, you've gotten the effects, right? You may as well get out. Like, it's good to stay and show you tough and like be tough, but you can get out after a minute or two. So he's basically like, you don't need to do it daily, number one. Number two is, so you can do like 2 minutes today, 3 minutes tomorrow, you've done 5 minutes. You can miss a day or two and then do another 3 minutes. So it's cumulative in a way. It's like, you can build up to 11 minutes. You don't have to do 5-minute cold plunges. And it's tough to stay in that water for some days. And what's weird as well is I can go in for like a minute and a half in the ice and I'm like, and other days I'll get in there and I'll be like the other day I ran 12 Ks, and when I got back I didn't ice, but my legs were aina, like the skin on my legs were aina. So I got out like after 45 seconds. I just couldn't stay. I was just so aina. And I think there is like a psychological element to like your toughness in every day, but it's very advanced. Like, that's what I'm saying, is just do a cold shower, you're getting the benefits.
I think there are also times where a minute feels very long and a minute flies by, and I think that's also a situational, like what you're going through at that moment. Yeah,
well, I think that's exactly what you're saying. Is you're right. Is what I had just done to my body after 12 Ks of running. My body was like, bro, can you cut me a break here, maybe, as opposed to a day where I just did some yoga for an hour and then got in the cold shower or the cold ice bath. So, and that's another thing, and I can vouch for this. I was watching a Wim Hof video the other day, and he was going, once you get used to this, those minutes, and I've learned that as well in the cold water, like once you jump into the pool and it's the sun's coming up and it's the middle of June, it's 2-degree water, and you start counting to 100, those 100 seconds all of a sudden, after enough time, after a few days, those 100 seconds aren't 100 seconds anymore, because you'd stop even counting so deliberately, and you start realizing, hey, this is actually lovely, I'm enjoying this. Like you say, that time moves much quicker. So you're fully right. We've all experienced that. There's actually a term for it, where time moves quicker or slower. I heard the term the other day. I'll never remember what it's called. So yeah, it's a really interesting one. The other super interesting thing was that when you do a cold plunge, you actually experience the benefits of it for 4 to 6 hours after the cold plunge. You're still experiencing those benefits, those physiological benefits. The physiological benefits being dopamine, oxytocin. There's a whole thing that Ronen goes into about the feeling of connectedness as well. Really around, like, that's why during COVID, when we were so disconnected from people, all of a sudden we could be reconnected. There's a thing where if you cold plunge on your own, or you do any activity on your own, say you do a cold plunge on your own, and then you do it with someone, you don't even need to talk to someone. And we've all experienced this. Just being around someone else while you're both doing the same activity, you have some sort of unspoken connectedness between you. And the same thing goes for like cold showers and stuff like that. Is do it with someone, and you're getting a very similar experience. You don't even have to talk to them. You can like experience it together. The other cool thing I think as well was that this was also, and this is what's so cool about talking to a guy like Ronen, who's like really empirically driven. The more reluctant you are, you're going to love this, the more reluctant you are to cold plunges or to ice baths, the more benefit you'll get out of it. So you really have no excuse now. You really have. No, like apparently he says, like the more reluctant the person is, the more
that is interesting,
the more benefit you'll get out of it.
Doesn't mean I'm going to do it.
Well, you say that, but you also said you would never do podcasting. Yeah, it's a super interesting thing. The other last one so the other one was the other types of cold plunge. So this is kind of how to get into it, because there's a lot of people who are interested, but you think you need an ice bath. You don't need an ice bath, okay? You don't even need a cold shower. You can do cold plunging, or you can do plunging of sorts, whatever you want. The easiest way is obviously a cold shower. So just do a cold shower. In the day, what Ronen said was quite interesting, was start off hot and end off cold. So do your shower, wash yourself, do what you need to do, and then the last minute of your shower, make cold, and then get out. Don't turn it back onto hot. Keep it cold, get out of the thing, and like wear that coldness and that feeling for the next hour or two, and you'll love it. At night, the opposite. End at with heat at night. So your body starts to like settle down, and you get ready for bed kind of thing. So cold showers are a great way. The other great one that Ronen's doing quite a lot of now and that he speaks of is face plunging. So you get a bowl with ice, put some ice in it, and just plunge your face. And when you start getting an ice cream headache, a bit of an ice cream headache, you've done enough. Or when you can't breathe anymore, obviously. But he says like there's a whole bunch of neurons and nerves and whatever in your face. You can experience the same physiological experiences than a whole body does just by doing a face plunge. I've seen Wim Hof does a hand plunge, which for me is a little bit of a leap, but I don't know enough about it yet. I am still a bit skeptical about some things, so I'm not a complete cultist yet. But that's my story.
That is it.
So, Simone, let's go cold plunge.
Well, let's start with the hand.
Yeah, I think it's just look, I think hopefully anybody who hears this, if you guys do feel like, well, that's the other thing. Here's your homework. First, your homework is to go tell someone that you're proud of them.
I'm proud of you, Steve.
I'm proud of you. So you can't do it to me, it doesn't count. And I can't do it to you, it doesn't count. Firstly, that's your homework. Go tell someone you're proud of them. The second piece of homework is, if you are even remotely interested, but you're shit scared. A lot of people don't do it. Like, I know I was there, and like I'm saying, like that's why I told the story of my journey. Is I was the guy who wouldn't get into a cold pool in the middle of summer. I was a pussy about it. Sorry, for lack of a better word. And now I'm comfortable with the cold. It's about getting comfortable in that uncomfortable. That's what it's about. It's another place where you get comfortable. That's why I say it's the rest of your day, nothing else that you have to do, no other discomfort that comes your way will be anywhere near as bad as that cold plunge. So do it. If you're feeling like you just can't take the first leap, get in touch. I'm more than happy to help you. I've got an outdoor shower as well now, so like a cold shower outside, which is for washing off before the cold plunge. But if that's all you can handle and you're scared of just like doing that, which some people are, and that's fine. Maybe you're not scared. Maybe you just don't want, maybe what I said about having an arrhythmia scared you or whatever. Then get in touch. If you want to try an ice bath, and by the way, most of the time the deep freeze isn't even at freezing. It's not at 0. It's at 5 degrees, 10 degrees, whatever it is. For this exact reason is I want people who've never done it before to come to me and say, dude, I want to try it. But I don't want to do 0 degrees. 100%, not a problem. I've got an ice bath that's at 10 degrees or 7 degrees. Like, just try that for 30 seconds. And you're safe, you're controlled environment, got lacquer music playing, other people around. But you have to come run to drum and bass music before you do it. No, I'm joking. You don't have to do that.
I'll do the running.
Will you? I'm going to hold you to that. I think you've said that you would before and you never come. But that's fine.
Well, 5Ks.
This weekend?
No.
That's what always happens. Thank you, Simone, for being here.
Thank you, Steve.
Do your homework, eh? Tell someone you're proud of them. And ice bath. Yeah,
okay. It's on my to-do list, but I am proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too. Goodbye.
Cheers.